everybody, so today I'm going to be talking about social media and what happened when I stopped using it. And I'm also going to be talking about just a bunch of random research and things that I've heard and just overall knowledge about social media and the effects that it has on people, and in the end, I'm going to give you guys a challenge. So I've been meaning to make this video for a while now. I fasted from social media with my church for 40 days, and it's something that I had wanted to do for a long time, but I always found a reason why I couldn't. I always had something going on. I was like, I need to post about it or something. And this past year in March through mid-April, I gave it up. So what I did was I gave up Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, and Facebook. So I did all of them because I knew that if I gave up only one or two, that I would just constantly use the other ones. So I am a person that constantly is on social media. I would confess that. I'll just have to say that my screen time is a lot higher than I would want it to be, and I'm not proud of it. I'm not something I want to celebrate. I am working on it though. So I know that people are like me as well. They're constantly on social media, they're addicted to it, and it's not something that's good. So I wanted to talk about the pros and cons of being off of social media. So first is the cons of social media. And first off, right off the bat, I'm going to say that my screen time was about 6 hours a day. So you have to take that screen time, and it's pretty much like if you minus the other stuff like messages, maps, things like that, you take about an average of 4 hours. You have an extra 4 hours a day of things to do with your life. So a big con of it was that I found myself bored. So you could see it as a bad thing or a good thing. I mean, I found things to do that were a lot more meaningful, but that was one thing I did struggle with, is constantly being bored. Another con is that I constantly was feeling left out. So people were talking about things that they saw, like memes, or, oh, did you see this thing I saw on Twitter? No, you didn't. Oh, this thing that's trending right now, this video that's going around, blah, blah, blah. So things like that, I always felt like I was missing out, and I was just a part of my own isolated world where everyone else was all social in their media, whatever. That's so stupid, but they're all like in their social media worlds, and I was just left out. And so I think those were the two biggest things that I felt, aside from the third one, which is not as big of a deal, but it's a big creative outlet for me, and I like to post things and kind of make it into something that's fun and that I could express myself with. And so I kind of missed out on that. I was like, oh, I have this like whole idea, but I'm not going to post it until after, so it'll be too late anyways. And like, I just needed to find a different way to express my creativity. But that was the way that I had been doing it for a long time, and that's how I still creatively express myself. So that was another thing. Now to the pros of it, which you might think would be shorter than the cons, but it's actually a lot bigger of a list. So I think the first thing that was big was richer conversations. So my conversations weren't based off of, I'm just going to give an example. Say my friend went to Hawaii and I was still on social media. This is how the conversation would go. Oh yeah, I saw you went to the waterfall, and then the next day you went to this cafe and your meal looks so good, and then I saw those family pictures you guys took, you guys were swimming with dolphins and all this stuff, right? It's constant like, oh, they've already seen everything I've done, why even talk about it? You know, so when I was off of it, I kept having these conversations that were like, I didn't know you went to Hawaii. And they're like, oh yeah, you're not on social media. Let me show you my pictures of me and my family and what I did. And let me tell you about the adventures I went on. So all of these conversations were just so much better. And I realized that because I wasn't seeing it already. It wasn't something I'd already checked off my list for the day. And so it was something that was like eye-opening, because I was like, wow, I didn't know that you went there. Or I actually bumped into some people out places and they're like, you didn't know I was here? I was like, no, I didn't see anything. Like, it's just one of those things where you don't know what's constantly going on. You're not on your Snap map. You're not on stories, seeing what people are constantly doing. So it's like a whole new world that you might not have been in before. And then another pro of it, that I constantly am comparing myself to people, and I don't really like sit there and I'm going to compare myself. It's just a thing that happens naturally when you're on that with these influencers. I really hate that word, but it's just, people know them as influencers. So I'm constantly comparing myself like, oh, I wish I had their hair or their fashion sense, or why don't I look like that? You know, so it's constantly a thing of going back and forth with myself and comparing. So when I was off of it, I wasn't doing that as much. Of course, you're always going to see people you know and think, oh, their shoes are so cool, I wish I had those, you know. That covetousness is not going to stop completely, but it's toned down a lot when you're not on social media. Because those are just people's highlight reels. It's the best thing that's happening to them and the best things that are going on. So when you're not comparing yourself to their best stuff, then you don't find yourself comparing as much. Another thing that was good about it is something that I found that I do. I don't know if everybody does this, but it's checking my list or my task for the day that I created for myself. So basically, I'm one of those people that checks stories. Like, I don't just click on the people I want. Like, I watch all of them and I like check them off. So I was creating this responsibility for myself for no reason. I was just like, okay, you need to go through, and Instagram even updates you and it says on there, you've checked everything for the past 2 days. And I'm like, okay, good. I got to that point. I'm good. I've seen every post. I've seen every story. Everything is cleared, right? That was my whole like thing. Unconsciously, I'm making this task for myself. So I have this responsibility that's not even necessary. And so I constantly was like checking it. And then when it was gone, I was like, oh, I don't have that responsibility to do anymore. Like, it's just so weird that we do that for ourselves. Another thing is I actually felt more energized, and I felt during that time just I wasn't napping as much. I wasn't being as lazy as much. I seriously felt like I had more energy and I was ready to go do things. I was like, okay, I have all this extra time. I want to go out and do things. I want to talk to people. I want to be connected in real life. Isn't it crazy that we're the most connected generation, but we are actually the most lonely out of all of them? That blows my mind, because it's just crazy to see that social media is doing a lot of damage in people's lives. And another whole crazy part of it is that I can say, okay, I'm gonna stop using social media forever. But the problem with that is that not everyone else is gonna stop using social media. Even though everyone else is still using it and I stopped, that doesn't change anything, because I'm just one person. I'm just one user that's not using it anymore. So the whole thing is crazy because we are just stuck in it. And I feel like as a teen that I'm alone sometimes, that I'm one of the only people that see that this is a problem, that a lot of people my age just love it so much that they're blinded to the fact that it's bad for you and it's not good for you. And so I feel alone sometimes because I'm like, oh, I just wish everybody would get off of it. I wish it would crash. I wish we could just get rid of it. But it's not going to happen, because this is people's jobs. This is like such a huge thing that it's crazy, because Instagram used to be posting a picture of your dog and your friend commenting how cute on it, right? But now it's gotten to the point where it is somebody's job. It's if Instagram crashes for a day, they could lose their house if Instagram broke. Like, people are so invested in this, they're losing their lives over this. Like, this is a factor in this, and so it's bringing mental health disorders, and all of these problems are coming from something that used to be so simple. And so I think it's really sad to see that we've become so into it that it's hard to pull away. So when I was in it, the first week was a little bit hard when I had to get off of it, because it was so just something implemented in my mind. I was so used to being on it all the time. And then as you pull away, you start to realize that, oh wow, I don't need it as much as I thought I do. Like, when I first decided to do it, I was like, this is going to be so hard. This is going to be the hardest 40 days of my life, right? It wasn't even as hard as I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be so much harder. And towards the end, it did get harder, because I knew that there was a time when it was going to come to an end. So it got really hard, because I'm like, oh, I'm so close, 5 more days, 4 more days, whatever. But when I got back on it, I realized something, and I was like, wow, I didn't miss this as much as I thought I did. And I used it a lot less when I got back on it. And then over time, I started using it back to my normal pace. But when I was off of it, I had already created this habit of not being on it anymore. So it was weird to go back on it, because I was like, I'm seeing all this again. I'm going backwards. Like, it was super weird. And so I think when I came back on it, I was having problems because I had FOMO, and that's the fear of missing out. And I kept seeing people's Snapchat stories, and I was like, oh, why am I not there? What? I didn't care about this last week, but now I care about this. Like, why do I care about this? And so it's something that's crazy, because we are constantly wired to be checking this and seeing and posting, and I'm trading my present moment for somebody else's past moment. And when I read that somewhere, that like blew my mind, because basically you're sitting at the table with your family, and guys are all on your phones. You're not going to have your family members forever. They're going to pass away. They're not going to be there with you forever. So we're taking that present moment we have with them, and we're trading it out for a reel of people's past moments and their present moments right as they post. we're trading that out, and it's just this trade that's not even valuable. We're taking something more meaningful and trading it for something with no value. And that social media can be really cool, and we can see that what people are doing, like family members who live in other states, or family members that live far away, friends we've lost connection with. We can see what they're up to, but there's also so many negative things about it. And another whole portion of it is the whole influencers thing, and how we've created this stigma to want to be liked, want to be followed. We want all of it to come back to ourselves, and we just want to put as much out there, as much content, and get brand deals and get all these things, which is just crazy. Because I was watching a video actually of another YouTuber, and she was talking about the idea of mini celebrities and how we're creating these mini celebrities and a drive to be one. How we feel that once we hit a certain amount of followers, we're going to be accepted and we're going to be cool, right? Because that's how things work in real life. No, it doesn't. Our world is becoming a place of status, and that's all we crave is status. How many followers can I get? How many likes can I get? I've gotten to a point where if something doesn't get enough likes, I've archived the post. Like, what if I just wanted to post something and it got nothing? Why would I? Oh my gosh, people don't like it. Or I posted something and it got no comments on it, and I was like, oh, I thought I looked good in that picture. I guess people don't like it. And then I'm like, should I delete it? Should I keep it? And it's just this crazy cycle of wanting to be accepted, and how if somebody unfollows us, that's like horrible. That's the worst thing you can imagine, when really that could be a good thing. Just the fact that we've created these influencers to be people that we look up to. We don't look up to authors anymore. We don't look up to movie stars or people who, I'm saying this slightly, but have talent. I don't mean this upon everybody, but it's crazy that we look up to somebody because they feed our aesthetic that we want, our pleasures of how a feed should look and how photos should look. And we're like, wow, I look up to them. They are so inspirational because they posted a quote they got off Pinterest. They're super inspirational. Besides, like, people who are scientists or inventors or authors and people who are doing big things in the world, we're not looking up to them anymore. We're looking up to 13-year-olds who make music videos on YouTube. Like, these people are not even doing that much, and they're getting paid so much money just because they talk about an advertisement. And like, this whole thing is just so mind-blowing because we're giving people so much of our attention and our money and our devotion, when really, what's the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning? You check your phone. I'm guilty of this too. I'm always trying to remind myself, no, you shouldn't be checking your phone as the first thing in the morning, that God should be more important. And as a Christian, I'm always reminding myself to do my devotional before I check my phone. But it shows you where our priorities are and where we put our devotion to. And it's just crazy to see that it's not just a few of us, it's everybody in the world. Like, I think it's 1/3 of the world uses social media. Like, that's crazy right there too, that we are globally using social media and it's doing so much harm, yet we want it so bad. And so with all this said, I have so many things I could say and go on forever, but I'm going to stop here and leave you guys with a challenge. So today is the 20th of September. It's a Friday, and so I'm going to give you guys the weekend to think about this, but I'm going to take a break from social media, all of it, from Monday the 23rd to Friday the 27th, just 5 days off of all social media that is disruptive. So I thought it would be fun to invite you guys to do this challenge with me. If you've never given social media a break, I highly recommend trying it, because as from what you've heard I've said before, it has a lot of pros. And so I remember thinking people are going to judge me when I give up my streaks, and honestly, I don't have streaks anymore because I found that it's so pointless. It's a number where you send an S. Try to explain that to somebody. They're just like so weirded out by this, how I found that I thought there was so much meaning in how much I posted, and you just got to think about it in a new perspective and just try giving it a break for 1 week. I'm not asking for 6 months or 40 days even, just 1 week, not even a week, 5 days. So try giving it up for 5 days. You have to delete the apps from your phone. I've tried not deleting them. You have to delete them. You don't have to log out, just delete them, and just try it for 5 days with me. And I wanted to have conversations with you guys in the comments down below. So if you guys want to comment down below, we can chat about this whole social media thing and just kind of process it all together and how it works. And this challenge I thought would be fun if you guys want to do it with me, and then when we get back we can talk about this and just explore what it's like to live without it. And so I thought it would be fun to try it out. If you guys want to do it with me, then let me know in the comments down below. We'll start on Monday morning and we'll go till Friday at night. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and that you want to see more content like this. If you do, give it a thumbs up. I can see what other videos we can talk about these things. I feel like these are important things to talk about and people don't talk about them enough. So let's be talking about these things and keep conversation going down below. And I think that's all I have to say. I mean, I have a lot of things to say, but for now, so this video doesn't go on forever, that's all I have to say for now. So if you guys like this video, thumbs up, comment down below, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye guys.